Well, hello, and I am going to be talking about television again, but specifically a show that I was very much obsessed with when I was a teenager in high school, and that is One Tree Hill. So we're gonna go there, we're gonna talk about it, and we're gonna have some fun. Um, okay, let's just jump right into this. So I started with the pilot and I got like halfway through and I was like, I can't do this. Skip to season 3, episode 3. Because at that time I was still testing out my theory, but I did that with Chicago PD or Chicago Fire and it worked. It was like a great episode, got me hooked in. I was set at that point. And so I did that with One Tree Hill, and that's when Nathan and Haley were divorced, separated. They weren't divorced yet. They were separated, and they never got divorced. Spoiler alert. But yeah. So I was like, I don't want to watch this episode or this storyline in the series. So then I skipped to the day before the prom, which was the party episode that they threw to celebrate the state championship, like 5 episodes later. And a lot of drama happened. And I was very intrigued, and it left with like a cliffhanger, and then the next episode ended with a cliffhanger, and then the next episode finished that cliffhanger, and so I was just kind of hooked. So I finished out that season, and then I just kind of jumped around after that. I honestly don't remember the exact order. I think I started season 5, but then stopped that and went to season 6, and then I went back to season 3, and I just hopped around. I did not watch anything in order, but that show is it's just funny watching it now, like 7 years later, which is insane. I'm so old saying that, but 7 years later, and just having a very different perspective. There's so much drama. It's basically a soap opera, so much sex, and just like teenagers running around without parents. I actually watched a video. I'll link that down below. It's a black girl watches One Tree Hill. That's what she titled the video, and it was really funny watching her reactions and her talk about the show and everything that happened, and I was like, yes! You know, it's just so fun to see other people talk about a show that you loved as a child, and now you look back and you're like, that was an interesting show. I still love it, you know, for nostalgia reasons. I went to North Carolina, for crying out loud, to Wilmington, where the show was filmed, so I could see where it was filmed and the houses and not the sets, but like the landscape and stuff. So I was pretty obsessed. I got the box set for Christmas. I didn't buy it, I got it as a gift. And I had a fandom account that I wasn't just dedicated to One Tree Hill, but I edited like collages of them a lot. So very much obsessed with the show. Loved it. I could quote it. I knew episode titles. I knew what happened in every episode. Like, I knew it backwards and forwards. So let's just dissect the show. The good, the bad, the ugly, whatever comes to my mind. The first thing I want to talk about is how much I don't like Clay and Quinn. Maybe controversial for fans of the show because a lot of people like them, but from a writing standpoint, I'm going to say why I don't like them. It's nothing against them as characters. Well, it's kind of against them as characters, but it's not their fault. You know, they're written into the show. They don't have a choice in how they behave and act. So, nothing against the actors or anything, but I just don't like anything that they're involved in at all. From start to finish, I just hate every single scene that they're in. Okay, here is why. From a writing standpoint, I understand why they wanted to fill the void of Lucas and Peyton leaving. But they literally created like a new Lucas and Peyton. I'm like, gosh, guys, you don't buy someone another golden retriever puppy when their golden retriever dies. You get them either a new pet or a new item, maybe even not a pet, but something new to focus on. You give them a different type of dog, a bunny, something else, but not the exact same thing. And I know they're not the exact same, but they're so similar, it's annoying. So that's the first thing. Second thing is that from a writing standpoint, it would have made so much more sense to have Taylor come back as Haley's sister than have Quinn. And I know Taylor makes an appearance for like 2 or 3 episodes, That was great. Honestly, love those episodes and that dynamic. But it would have been such a brilliant writing masterpiece to have Taylor come back and have her be evolved as a character. You know, we don't see her for 5 seasons, which in their time is like 9 years. Well, 7 years. It's 7 years because the high school years are actually two years, but it's 4 seasons. So, anywho, it would have been really great because we see her in season 2 and we see the dynamic between her and Haley and Nathan and just the awkwardness, and they kind of make up a little bit, but not really. She's still kind of a terrible person, but it would have been really great to have her come back and just see that whole dynamic again, see it be different, see it be better, see it bring up old wounds, but the growth, and just, they could have done so much with her character and not just have her be like this archetype that just shows up and then leaves, like give her so much like growth and layering, kind of like Brooke, you know? Although we wouldn't have seen all of it, it would have been really cool to have her there. So that's number 1, or that's number 2. And then number 3, and this is just like, I don't know, based off of my own personal preference on stuff, but oh gosh, I forgot her name. This is actually really sad. I loved Clay and his first wife. The actress that's in 12 Monkeys, that I'm also really love that show, just for writing reasons. I have to like a show for writing reasons, or else I'll hate a show for writing reasons. It's one of the two. So, anywho, his first wife, they would have been so cute. Like, I loved them. I thought they had such a cute storyline. I think they had such like pure innocence in them as a couple, and that would have been so cool to have Nate have his manager also be married, and just to have them bounce off of each other of both being married and how they go about it, especially with all the drama that happened with Nathan and Haley in season 7, would have been really great. I know Clay kind of being a partier is why Nathan got into that whole situation, but it would have been great for him to have to like face his wife in that too. I just think it would have been brilliant, and the cute flashbacks to their story would have been perfect. And it could have had a little kid the whole time that was like growing up with Nathan's kids. They could have had so much bonding, okay? And then also, I really wish if they did have Quinn be in the show, that she got back with her husband. Because personally, I think it's a really stupid reason to divorce someone, because we're growing apart. It's like, no, you ebb and flow and you grow in life, and you have to work at your marriage to grow together and to uplift each other. I understand it's realistic. I do. I understand. I just feel like she kind of gave up too easily. Maybe if in the end she ended up having that divorce, you know, I just feel like it was all a plot device. I don't care if Clay and Quinn would have ended up together. It's just like you saw it from day one. So it would have been really cool if her and her husband were together when they first came. Like, Taylor comes back too. Quinn's there with her husband. You see their relationship deteriorate instead of just like, yep, they divorced. Just accept it as fact. And pretend to care too. And then also having his wife still die, Clay's wife die, and have that whole dramatic thing happen as well, and then have Clay and Quinn get together, I would have bought that so much more, and then they wouldn't have felt like replacements to Lucas and Peyton. So that's my proposal, because I do think that the actors that played Quinn and Clay had chemistry because they were really great friends. So I'm not mad about that pairing. I'm just mad about how it was written. It was written terribly. So that's my beef number 1. Beef number 2 is all of season 2. And the video that I will link down below talks about this, but I waited until the very end of my watching of One Tree Hill to watch season 2, because I knew it was terrible, because I did my research, and I was like, I can't do this. It was actually kind of funnier watching it out of order after everything happened, because you know what happens, and so you're just laughing at the stupidity of it all, and you're like, what is this? So it just feels like a completely different show, and the characters just do things that are so out of character. Like, Anna and Felix are there, and you're like, why? And then Peyton, it's like, why are you acting this way? And then Nathan and Haley, you're like, why are you acting this way? I feel like the whole season 2 is, why are you acting this way? I don't like anyone in season 2, and honestly, it's all a blur, because I blocked out most of it when I was watching it, and I just didn't care, because I already knew what happened, and I was like kind of sad that the show was ending. Like, this was my last couple episodes that I was watching of the show. But I think season 2 needed to happen for season 3 to be great. So I'm not mad about it because season 3 was amazing and season 4 was a wonderful follow-up. So I'm okay with season 2 happening because it birthed season 3, which was amazing. Like, that was One Tree Hill at its best. They fine-tuned everything. They made it the iconic show that it was. They did the shooting episode. You know, they had the gang back together. They're putting Nathan and Haley back together. They're putting Lucas, you know, is reestablished kind of to the friend group again. Not that he was ever kicked out, but I just feel like the whole group came back together. Brooke and Peyton are now friends again. It's great television at its finest. And so I really like that. Okay, so we talked about season 2. Now we're going to talk about season 5. And I think you might all know where I'm going with this because I was a huge Nathan and Haley fan. And season 5 just didn't need to happen. As a writing standpoint, it was stupid. So having him in a wheelchair, fine, whatever, drama, I'm okay with that. It was great. It put so much strain on their marriage. They did not need Nanny Carrie. Okay? They did not need the psycho Carrie. They just didn't need it. It was so over the top. You already have him in a wheelchair. You already have their marriage on thin ice. You don't need to add that. It was so annoying. I was so done with those episodes. Just so done. They painted Haley in a terrible light. Nathan was just acting like a crappy person, and he's just always forgiven for the crap that he puts Haley through. And everyone hates Haley because she's acting like a normal human would in those situations. But I understand it's a teenage show, and so teenagers are like, meh. But I just didn't like any of that. The end of season 5 is a little bit better. Also, I feel so bad for Lindsay. Again, another plot device. It's for Lucas and Peyton, the great love of the series. But she did not deserve that. And I don't like that people didn't like Lindsay. Like, she did nothing wrong except the fact that she was dating Lucas, which is a sin in the show because Brooke also dealt with that. But everyone loves Brooke because she's the main character. So I just really hated all of that. I hated how dirty they handled Lindsay's character. It just didn't need to happen. You know, it just wasn't right. Didn't like that writing choice. Another writing choice I just don't like at all is Julian. Now, before you guys freak out, I like him with Brooke, but when he's written into the show, it's like Peyton's arrogant ex coming in to make a movie or whatever. And that was just annoying. One, the way he's written in is a completely different person than how they rewrote him for Brooke. Once they realized that they wanted to pair him with Brooke, they were like, we gotta make this character better. So they like basically rewrote him. Also, Brooke always gets Peyton's leftovers, which is just like, don't like that at all. I don't like how they share guys. I just think it's weird. I don't like it. Another writing choice, let's see. I feel like Millie doing drugs was just a little much. And just the way they wrote her character, again, it's just like, just complete annihilation of a character. Did not like that at all. I like Mouth and Millie together a lot, but they just annihilated her character. Yeah, there's just a lot of characters. I'm like, why are you here? And it's not their fault. It's not the actor's fault. It's the writing. Some of the writing is brilliant, and some of it you're just like, please stop. So that is One Tree Hill. Those are my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got like some flashbacks. And I'm gonna stop talking now because it's been, you know, like 15 minutes by the time I actually shut off the camera. So yeah, go watch the show, I guess, kind of, question mark. It's on Hulu now, so you can watch it if you want to. I don't know if I'd recommend it. If you want just like a guilty pleasure show that you know is very soap opera-y and kind of trashy at sometimes with like good and bad writing depending on the episode, but like way better than anything that's out there nowadays on the CW or any of those shows, then watch it. It's a great series. You have 9 seasons. You get to see the characters grow. Would I watch it again? Probably not. Like, if I had the option to watch it right now, today, for the very first time, I don't think I would do it. But I also don't regret doing it when I was a teenager, because I was a teenager, you know? So there you go. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, bye.